And as we are getting more people to tune in, we start, of course, with the news of the day, and it's, of course, coming here from California. We personally voted, at least my wife, for Larry Elder. A lot of Californians are voting for Larry Elder today, so we hope, and they're not all Republican. There is a lot of Democrats also who are voting simply for the recall of this awful governor who has proved a complete failure, and the laws that he applies for himself are, of course, different from the ones that have to be applied by us, the citizens of this once glorious state of California, that instead is becoming it's becoming a state with many problems. The homeless issue is, of course, one of them, but it's not the only one. Many companies are leaving California, finding better tax laws in other states like Texas. So let's see what has happened just at the beginning of this day, which might become an historical day, or might become another day to alert Americans of the danger of fraudulent elections. And this is an initial take of things by a local station, popular station here in LA, KLA 5, and it's not looking good.
Court and Rick, this is quite a story. Good question. What is going on? We spoke with several concerned voters here in the West San Fernando Valley who believe something wonky had been going on at places like El Camino Real Charter High School in Woodland Hills. This place opened up as an early polling location, open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, but several people tell us they showed up to vote this morning in the special California governor recall election and were told that computers showed they had already cast their ballots. So what? Staffers, they say, were apologetic and helpful, but those voters we talked to are extremely concerned, suspicious, and wanting answers. California native and current West Hills resident, 88-year-old Estelle Bender, spoke with us just a short time ago. What happened today and how shocked are you?
Very. I went to El Camino High School to vote, got there at 10:30, gave her this, and she scanned it and said, "You voted." And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "This has been happening all morning." The man next to me was arguing the same thing. So as I left, I did the provisional ballot and left. I was just really angry, and I saw two women walking toward me as I left, and I said, "Don't be surprised if they tell you you've already voted." And she said, "They've already done that." If I voted, how did I vote?
And who did you vote for?
Well, I asked the couple, the young women that I talked to, and I said, "Are you by any chance Republicans?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, so am I. And so are the two friends that had the problem at VFW." So.
Makes you suspicious.
I would think so. And still, I'd like to know how I voted.
All right, take a look. The LA County Registrar's Office released a statement tonight following our inquiries. A spokesman says the voters who experienced this issue were offered and provided a provisional ballot.
Well, as you can see, the fraud is already taking place. But if you have to believe in what the Democrat media machine is, of course, saying, that's because we conservatives believe in conspiracy theories. False election claims in California reveal a new normal for GOP. In an echo of 2020, Republicans are pushing baseless allegations of cheating in the state's recall race even before Election Day. Well, now you have seen it from this witness. It's not just a fantasy, it's not just a conspiracy theory, it's happening. And unfortunately, it might once again steal the elections from us conservatives, giving them to these Democrats, who of course will bring further mandates, vaccine mandates, mask mandates, whatever, restriction, oppression, and everything to favor the elite. We have more testimony of what's going on today from Woodland Hills here in California. Let's go and check out this video that they sent me from Woodland Hills, California. And of course, welcome to all those people who are tuned in on Aftermath FM and the Global Enlightenment Radio Network, also our radio listeners.
Said we got your vote and it's counted. After the election was over.
Yeah, it took about 30 days for them to do that.
This won't even work.
But
It works because they counted during that time.
No.
It's just that you don't get notified until later on.
Okay, so let me understand. About 70% of the votes at this location
Yes.
have been shown as already casted when they were
Right.
not.
This is horrible.
Right.
You look familiar, by the way.
And my only
go
option
to
at
Beverly
this
Hills?
point is to
No,
fill
it's out
out
here.
one of these,
No, you have two options. You can fill the provisional,
okay, which I don't want to do,
or you can go to another center like maybe Pierce College
okay?
and vote there.
This is my center. I live next door.
Yeah, well, this is for the entire LA County, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. It is closer.
So
yeah.
these systems are not
But what
connected.
I'm saying, I'm presenting the option that
You're the
yeah.
supervisor.
Yes.
Did you report this?
Yes.
So they know it all the way up.
Yes. It's going all the way up.
Do you think that matters?
Well, we're going to be getting some help about this one because yes, it seems
But
to be
no,
very
I think
concerning.
people like us need to report this to election board for the GOP and all that. Whatever, Fox.
Do you have some information for us that we can go ahead and contact the supervisors on top of you guys?
See, and then this morning, what was so funny, Gavin Newsom and him were like,
Wow. So, today, the 14th of September of the year of the Lord 2021, while we are finally also hearing the truth about what went on in the final hours of the Trump presidency, where there was actually General Milley, we call him Milli Vanilli because he's such a fake, but he was behind the scene in direct contact with China, betraying his own military office. Him and Nancy Pelosi, of course, from California. Nancy Pelosi, who is even related, I think, with the Governor Newsom. These people are a fraud. These people are dangerous. They betray our country, but unfortunately, they seem to always get away with it. Today, though, the amount of votes that Larry Elder is getting here in California might really change things around. Because, yes, it's true. They are trying to, as you have just witnessed, they are trying to steal this election. But will they manage? Because they can manage if it's only a small difference between the two candidates. But the thing is that Newsom himself instead is accusing Republicans, saying that they are trying to dismantle democracy, which is a complete lie, when it's the Democrats who are really dismantling democracy. That's the truth here. So it's really sad what's happening to an ever so divided America. And the Democrats accusing the Republicans of doing election fraud, or accusing even Trump of doing election fraud attempts after he failed to get elected in November. So it's an ever so divided country. But let's listen to the voting underway in California and what's being said on MSNBC, which is really the main fake news of the mainstream.
And I spoke to him about what Larry Elder said and what he would. I spoke to Larry Elder yesterday, and he refused to commit to accepting the results of the election. I'm curious if you heard what he had to say. What do you make of that? And obviously,
take my mask off on that one. I mean, just think about what you just said to me. Donald Trump putting out something for the second time. What that message sends to the United States, people all across this country, the vote somehow doesn't matter, that its whole thing is rigged. I mean, they are quite literally trying to dismantle democracy and trust in this country and our very nation. I mean, this is fundamental. This is serious stuff. I hope people are paying attention to this. Look, I could care less what he does at the election. I'll accept the will of the voters no matter what it is. Period, full stop. The idea they're even playing around with this and vandalizing trust and confidence, that's consequential and it has real impact across this country. I'll tell you what, the irony of it,
the irony of it is, like I said, they are the ones who say the conservatives are dismantling and sabotaging democracy. This is this reversing, turning around the truths and making sure that they are always looking like they are the good ones, the ones on the moral and ethical pedestal. In the meantime, though, yesterday, a rather sick Joe Biden talked in Long Beach. Sick, not because he's sick with his brain. We all know about his cognitive problems. We saw him on Saturday getting photographed with a bunch of Trump children that had Trump t-shirts, Trump caps, whatever on the head. So I think that, of course, cognitively speaking, we all know that he's not there. But yesterday evening, I mean, when he got here in California and he talked, he really seemed feverish. He seemed like he was sick. He coughed many times. And people around him say that this series of coughs and the fact he was looking visibly sick sparked a lot of concerns around it. Let's remember one thing that the Democrats are insisting on. We need to be vaccinated because this is the pandemic of the unvaccinated. People get less sick if they're vaccinated and blah, blah, blah. Now, we know that at least officially, we have all seen him doing it. So I don't know if it was fake or it's real, but supposedly he got the jab. He got the jab 2 times. So that's Joe Biden for you, somebody who has complied and who has vaccinated himself. So if now he gets sick, very sick, with COVID, imagine what will happen. Imagine how this will trigger a complete catastrophe, which already has started with the failure and the debacle in Afghanistan, but this will be even worse. I mean, if Joe Biden gets very sick, then in his frail conditions, he might even risk his life if he gets COVID on top of the 2 vaccines he already got. Well, of course, we don't wish anybody any harm, but it's very interesting what this Biden appearance showed us here in Long Beach, California, while he was promoting, of course, Governor Newsom. Let's see this coughing, this sickness that was quite evident in Joe Biden.
Governor Gavin Newsom, the best governors in the country. California, I'm not sure you know it, but if you didn't know it, you should. Fascinating his state. Meanwhile, for these Republican governors, it isn't about public health, about the health of the people, it's about politics. In Mississippi, children are required to be vaccinated against measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, hepatitis B, polio, tetanus, and more. It's a state requirement. But now, in the midst of this pandemic, that has taken over 650,000 lives. Look, folks, we don't need politics in this battle against COVID. We need science.
Now, he said it, we don't need politics, we need science. So he is, of course, the number one testimony for the COVID vaccine. But he was visibly not looking very well.
Courage. We need leadership. We need Gavin Newsom. A governor who follows science, who's got the courage to do what's right, and who'll lead, and I apologize for coughing.
And I apologize for coughing. At that point, he picks up the bottle of water and he starts drinking. I mean, this is a clear sign that he's not very well. What has happened to Joe Biden after his arrival in California?
That's what the science tells us. We have to beat the Delta variant of COVID-19. Gavin will be a governor who will help us finish the job. Folks.
Wow. Seems that Joe Biden is not very well. We all wish him well because, I mean, we don't want to wish anything bad to anybody, but like I said, he's the number one testimony of these COVID vaccines. If something happens to him, these vaccines will have lost forever any credibility, that's for sure. In the meantime, 80 minutes past the hour, welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. I want to welcome everybody who is following us from all over the world on Aftermath FM, on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network, and also on YouTube and Facebook. Please leave us a donation so we can carry on with our activities. The donations that can be, of course, made through our PayPal account or through our Fundly, yes. The PayPal is PayPal.me/Leo Zagami Show, and you can find also the Fundly in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. I will also put it, of course, on the screen. And then we have the books that are very important, guys. Why they're so important now? I told you this a few days ago. And now, actually, I saw just today my colleague Paul Joseph Watson, I think, that made an article about the fact that Elizabeth Warren is trying to get certain books banned from Amazon. That means that we are in big trouble if, of course, Amazon listens to Elizabeth Warren. Here I want to show you the article in question, just to show you and to confirm what I said already to you in the other episodes of the Leo Zagami Show. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that. Elizabeth Warren demands Amazon censor best-selling books. COVID heretics must be disappeared, and Senator Elizabeth Warren is demanding Amazon censor best-selling books because they contain information that challenges their official narrative on coronavirus. For that reason, guys, I really invite you to get this book in particular that has 120 pages on on COVID, on the China virus, on the origins of it, on the reason why we have this virus, and because we don't know if they will let us carry on with the sale of this specific book, Volume 5, The Decline of the West and the Rise of Satanism in Our Society. Then we have, of course, Volume 4, and we have also our bestseller, Volume 6.66, which I recommend to you all, The Age of Cyber Satan, Artificial Intelligence and Robotic, one of my bestsellers. So please purchase these books before Amazon gives in to this request. it's, I hope, not something that's going to happen. Warren wrote a letter asserting that Amazon was complicit in spreading COVID-19 misinformation, and at the same time, this really it's a sad moment for literature, and it seems like we are almost facing the digital book burnings, like we faced the book burnings, unfortunately, in other dictatorships. So. Thank you for supporting the Leo Zagami Show with your donations, and thank you for also spreading the news that we are still trying to bring you this show on various platforms, including still YouTube. So subscribe to this new YouTube channels. And now let's carry on with more news, because of course the news of the day: rapper Nicki Minaj exposes finally she's part of this Democrat cult herself. I mean, she's always been part of it, but what happened now is pretty incredible, because she is pregnant. She doesn't want to take the vax. She basically says even her Democrat friends can't convince her to get vaccinated. And she said, if I get vaccinated, it won't be for the Met. It'll be once I feel I've done enough research. I'm working on that now. So she said she's working on research. Of course, she is creating a lot of problems. I repeat, Democrats are more and more like a cult, and if you betray them in any way, you go on their blacklist. And this seems that this is something that, of course, has upset the Democrats, and you can see it in the mainstream news. I'm going to just show you what they have said in the last few hours about this singer, hip-hop artist. They almost gave her like a warning. You know, you need to go back on your steps. You need to get vaccinated. That's what they're saying, but they are saying it really in a very strong way from, of course, the usual MSNBC. Check this out.
And people like Nicki Minaj, I have to say this. You have a platform, sister, that is 22 million followers. Okay, I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage art.
No, 22 million followers. You see, you have a responsibility. You have a platform, almost hinting on the fact that if she continues, they might deplatform Nicki Minaj. I don't think that will be, of course, permitted by her handlers in the music industry. But I mean, this warning that is given by the mainstream media gives you an idea of how the cult is worried about Nicki Minaj and her statements about the vaccine.
Our community to not protect themselves and save their lives. My God, sister, you could do better than that. You got that platform. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that you got that people listen to you, and they listen to you more than they listen to me. For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from. Oh, my God. As a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who is your fan, I'm so sad that you did that. So sad that you did that, sister. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I'm so sad, sister. Ooh, oh, my God. You're not woke anymore if you don't vaccinate yourself. Ooh, sister. Ooh. Well, it's sad to see instead how this democratic cult is continuing to betray America and what it stands for. It's also very sad to see how California, that was once a great state, is being completely ruined by this fool of Governor Newsom, who might get away with another fraudulent elections, another rigged election. But John Boyd, of course, you all know John Boyd, the father of one also very important actress, gave his testimony. And I think his testimony, John Boyd's testimony regarding his support for Larry Elder and for the recall of Gavin Newsom is very important. I mean, John Boyd, regardless of the fact he's the father of Angelina Jolie, is one of great, outstanding artists, actors of our time, and he gave this really incredible, powerful statement, which I would like to share with you. Also, because here in California we still have 3 hours and a half, I think, before the elections are completely over. We still have a few hours. Let's say we still have a few hours, because then, you know, with all the various time zones here in the US, otherwise we get confused. But we still have a few hours. So I would like to show you what John Boyd said regarding this election and regarding his support for Larry Elder.
My fellow Americans, we're in a disgusting war of left-wing mentality. How can we live with our children being exposed to this left? Our Governor Newsom, his demands for shots. How can we be taken down by such wrongdoing against our freedom, our rights as humans, as Americans? Let us vote for Elder, Larry Elder. Let our states be saved with truths, with a force of God's rules, not leftist rules that will destroy our young. I will stand for Elder. I will ask all to vote for this man of dignity, of truths, not of power, not of lies. We, the people, deserve a chance to bloom with our greatest gifts, our children of God. We must save them from this deceit. Let us bring Elder in to reconstruct our state with integrity, with honor, with truths. Let us rid this horror, Newsom, and let our nation be lifted from this darkness. And we, the people, must understand and see these lies. And I want you all to remember our God-given gifts. Our forefathers fought for our freedom of choice. Choice, not for mandatory, to force or control one's beliefs, but to honor one's will, one's free will, without control, for freedom, for our American dream. The dream all came here from all over the world to be part of, freedom. And now it's being destroyed. But I'll pray, and I will say that man is powerful, and God's love is here. And we can all take our freedom back, because we are God's true heroes, his children, his creation of free will, of love. And we all must not forget this truth. And we all must not fear, for God is here. And my fellow Americans, lies will die and truth will stay alive. Don't allow our state to crumble any longer. Let us bring the California country to her best yet. Elder will help us save her.
And we definitely love the words of John Boyd, and they're completely in line with my idea of saving this great state of California, which is part of the American dream, is part of American history. And so why should we let this state just crumble and become a third world country? When we go to LA, when we go to San Francisco, cities full of shit, literally, homeless people with encampments here, there, and everywhere. A city that since 2014 and the depenalization that there has been for the homeless, because the homeless have gone out of control after laws that were, of course, passed by the Democrats. The problem has got really worse since 2014. So, of course, I'm still not fully American, though I'm a permanent resident of California, and I'm very proud of it. And once I will get to become a permanent, well, not only a permanent resident, but a citizen, I will, of course, get involved with US politics. And hopefully bring my experience to the fold. But will there be an America left to fight for at that point? Because what we are witnessing today in California is the last shot we have in saving America. If California is not reclaimed today, we might have lost our last chance to reclaim the United States of America. Of course, we have the midterm elections of 2022, but the midterm elections of 2022 and even the elections of 2024 could be once again the subject of manipulation and illicit activities. So I pray for California. I pray for California that will make the right choice. And once we now launch a new California with Larry Elder, that would be great. Otherwise, we will have to wait, of course, for California 2023. And who knows if in 2023 we will have any choices, because the cult, the sect that is dominating the United States of America, called the Democratic Party, is simply an emanation of a much more insidious enemy called the Catholic Church and the Jesuits who control it. The Jesuits, of course, have always controlled the great state of California. California was basically founded by the Catholic Church with the Franciscans, the Dominicans, and they were clever enough to place here a lot of their influence and power to not let the whole of the United States be under the control of the Protestants, of the evangelists, of the people who already had broken from Rome. We need to have Larry Elder winning this race, because this will send a very strong signal also to Rome. Rome that, of course, is becoming, not built, I would say founded, not built, but definitely founded by Catholic forces. And this is the fact that California has embedded this Catholicism, can still be seen even in the laws that are part of the local laws of the state of California. They are typical of that Latin Catholic way of manipulating and being bureaucratic with a lot of nonsense. More nonsense, the better. But let me show you something else now. Let me show you something else, because on the other side of the Atlantic, on the other side of the world, in Europe, of course, the Pope has traveled to Hungary. And in Hungary, he has actually met with Orban, who has been one of the most openly sovereignist, populist politicians opposing everything that this Pope stands for, because this Pope stands for open borders. This Pope is basically stands for everything Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stands for. Let's see the Pope instead in Hungary meeting with Viktor Orban.
One has stood in solidarity with migrants, while the other, a staunch nationalist who opposes multiculturalism. During a visit to Hungary, Pope Francis's meeting with Prime Minister Viktor Orban was a brief one. Unlike other papal visits, it took place behind closed doors. Speaking on the encounter later on Facebook, the leader said he asked the Pope not to let Christian Hungary perish. Orban has often portrayed himself as a defender of Christian Europe, an identity he believes is under threat by Muslim immigration. His government has also enacted what they call pro-family Christian policies. In July, Orban's administration came under fierce criticism for adopting a law that critics say bans the promotion of homosexuality. Pope Francis has condemned nationalism and populism. After meeting with the head of state, the Pope visited local Christian and Jewish leaders, where he defended Hungary's 100,000-strong Jewish community.
Penso alla minaccia dell'antisemitismo, che ancora serpeggia in Europa e altrove. È una miccia che va spenta, ma il miglior modo per disinnescarla e lavorare in positivo insieme e promuovere la fraternità.
So the Pope, of course, trying to promote his fraternity, rightly so. He also, of course, talked about anti-Semitism that is on the rise, but anti-Semitism is on the rise because of him, because the people who are actually pushing anti-Semitism in Europe are the Muslims that he's letting in, that he's inviting to invade Europe. So you are a fake, Pope Francis. You are a fake, and what you're saying is complete BS. Orban, diplomatic, head of state, of course, has to go through the whole formality of receiving another head of state like Pope Francis. But in reality, Orban, as we know, is trying to oppose with Poland and with other countries, Serbia, this socialist technocracy that unfortunately is embedded in the DNA of Europe, which is now doomed to fail. Doomed to fail because the pandemic crisis economically has not been yet felt. And when it's going to finally unleash, Europe is going to be on their knees, and we're going to see some pretty big things happening in Europe in the next few months and in the next few years. We're talking about a continent that might have civil conflicts, social unrest, especially with this ever present and increasing presence of the Muslim population that is not really part, and never been part of the DNA of Europe, which is profoundly Christian. So, like somebody suggested here on one of the chats on one of our channels, Europe is definitely toasted. Europe is probably on the verge of one of their biggest crises. So they will try to overcome it, and that will only be possible with China lending them money and making them dependent of the new Silk Road, their Green Belt initiative. Basically, Europe has sold out to China and is about to become a Chinese enclave. That's what's going to happen. And the Pope knows that very well because he's already taking money from the Chinese. And the Jesuits, like I explained in this book in particular, have been working for hundreds of years with China. So, the incredible thing that we have found out today regarding General Milley and what happened in the last days of Trump presidency, it's really incredible how CNN has the courage of bringing out, okay, they have to promote a book, whatever, but this news is, of course, one of the main news of the day. Woodward Costa book worried Trump could go rogue. Milley took secret action to protect nuclear weapons. His secret action was to conspire, betray America, and get in contact with Beijing. Something that is absolutely incredible if you think about it. How can a top general betray his president and call his Chinese counterpart? We're talking here about a betrayal of the United States that it has a level never seen before. They are actually telling us in their faces, we have conspired with China in the last days of Trump presidency to avoid Trump and make some crazy move. While instead, the only ones who are crazy here are the American general, the top general, and all the military who listened to him. So there was a secret phone. There were secret phone calls where General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Staff, assured his Chinese counterpart, General Li Zhonghe, of the People Liberation Army that the United States will not strike, according to this new book, written together with the reporter Robert Costa, which of course is a total libtard, and Washington Post associate director Bob Woodward. I mean, this is betrayal at a level. I mean, we're talking about a general who represents the United States calling his Chinese, no, don't worry, we're not going to bomb you, don't worry, our president is insane. What? What are you talking about? So, if there is not a military tribunal against a general that does such a move, that means the United States of America has already lost. America, at this point, becomes a joke in the hands of China, too, just like Europe. And China knows that very well. So it's quite incredible to see these developments. While we are here, of course, and today transmitting from Palm Springs, California, waiting for the fate of California, Governor Newsom, that of course has his fate at stake, because if he loses this recall, he will probably disappear forever from the political arena. But Californians today are voting and might have their votes stolen once again by these lackeys of communist China. Let's not forget that in San Francisco there is the Grand Lodge of Chinese Freemasonry, just like I described in volume 2 of my Confessions, for those who have read it. So China has infiltrated California for hundreds of years. I mean, here we're talking about the construction of the railways. We're talking about a community that is fairly integrated. Maximum respect for those who are integrated, but not for those who are conspiring with China to take over the United States of America and its resources. Governor Newsom would sell his own mother because people like him, they don't have any kind of real faith in the American ideal and its constitution. Actually, the Constitution of the United States of America these days is becoming a problem for these enemies, for these inside enemies of the United States. The Constitution is something they actually despise, these people. That's the big problem of today. But Americans are reacting, and they are reacting very strong. Protesters even on Brooklyn Bridge. Check this out. I mean, Americans are waking up in the stadiums. We have seen it in past episodes of the Leo Zagami show. But now together, even on Brooklyn Bridge, protesting against mandates, against these Democrats who are oppressing more and more the population. So this is a Democrat town in the hands of the enemy, and this is Brooklyn Bridge. Somebody erroneously said Jesuit were before Columbus. No, the Jesuit order was founded after the discovery of the official, by the way, between brackets, discovery of America by Christopher Columbus. In any case, like I said, the fact Joe Biden movement is growing, and it's not only in stadiums, but in the stadiums they are really becoming like a massive movement. Check this out, once again at Virginia Tech, and we saw them in other parts of America, but this is a new video. Check this one. Joe Biden! Joe Biden! So there is more and more young Americans who are finally rebelling to this joker and to his Republic of incompetence, yes. And in the meantime, though, we have a danger, a present danger that might be unleashed in the next few days. They're fencing the Capitol because they are scared of some kind of protest that they say will take place in 4 days. They are the ones who are actually promoting this event, They're the ones who actually infiltrated. We have a lot of evidence of FBI infiltrators present in Capitol Hill on January the 6th. Now, though, they're fencing the Capitol, preparing for something else, something that, of course, might be a new 9/11. This time a 9/18th. 18th maybe because of the 666, no? That is the number of the beast. These are Satanists. So they are working. They're working and they're putting back the fence. They're protecting themselves.
It's been 55 days since the last of the Capitol fence started to come down. But tonight, WUSA 9 first to report Capitol Police officers have been told to be prepared for the fence to return. Officers said department leaders first discussed reinstalling the fence around 2 weeks ago during a routine briefing.
And I invite you to make your own homemade signs demanding justice for these political prisoners.
An upcoming alt-right rally at the Capitol set for September 18th is why the fence could return.
So this is, this fear-mongering, building the strategy of tension around an event that at the moment doesn't seem to be that of a big deal. I mean,
Trump campaign official Matt Brainerd is demanding the release of insurrection defendants. D.C. Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton on law enforcement preparations.
I think they're at pains to be ready for whatever occurs. And some of the people coming have been violent in the past.
CBS News has learned intelligence and online chatter suggests members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers plan to be at the Capitol. A final decision on whether to bring back the fence has not yet been made, as law enforcement on the Hill continue to review intel before.
And then after they decided to bring back this fence, they went for the full libtard action. They actually announced it a couple of days ago. They are very worried because they have to make a show now out of it. So now it's coming together for them. The boogeyman has been created and they are ready for the next move of the evil people that, of course, have been deemed even by George W. Bush, even more dangerous than Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the whole thing, the Taliban, those are nothing. The U.S. patriots, that's the problem for these people.
Now to some breaking news and the growing security concerns on Capitol Hill. The fencing that...
Growing security concern. So, I mean, with all this fear-mongering, I mean, one can expect definitely the possibility of a new 9/11. So what are they going to do? They're going to probably... I hope not. I cross hands that this doesn't happen. I mean, I'm really worried about it because it will definitely transform this whole situation in the next stage. That at that point it's just this much close to the civil war, because at that point you're not giving anybody anymore any chance. If you accuse all the MAGA followers, like MSNBC has been doing in the last few days, of being worse than ISIS or Al-Qaeda, and those are the 70 million people who have voted Donald J. Trump, at least 70 million people, if not 80 million, you are not giving us a chance anymore. It becomes impossible to dialogue when there is no more dialogue. There is only confrontation. But check out this whole fear.
Surrounded the U.S. Capitol after the January attack is expected to go back up. Pierre Thomas joins us with the latest. Good morning, Pierre.
Good morning. That's right. That fence is likely going back up. It's all because of a rally scheduled for a September 18th incident involving support for those arrested in the January 6th insurrection. Some involved in the rally are calling those arrested political prisoners. There's growing concern about the potential for violence and worry that radical groups may show up to disrupt the event. Capitol Police say security will be tight with all available officers on duty. The heightened concerns come as the FBI released new video of the suspect wanted for planting potentially lethal pipe bombs at the DNC and RNC headquarters the night before the assault. A new camera angle shows the suspect calmly sitting on a bench outside the DNC. Authorities are in urgent need of new tips as the bomber was meticulous in concealing his or her identity, wearing a hood, mask, glasses, and gloves.
And yesterday, so we're already on the warm-up now for what's happening next. They have made an arrest. So, I mean, already yesterday, the fate of what's going to happen on day 18 is kind of like, it is an event that we need to fear because these people are already on the move. What happened yesterday? They arrest basically somebody. They didn't really report anything after the arrest. This guy was arrested with a few knives and a machete. But of course, he was accused of bearing swastikas, of being a right-wing extremist and whatnot. This is because, like I said, they are constructing the myth, the strategy of tension around their next move. You see, well, this is what they found: a machete, a joint, couple of joints, a couple of knives. That was it. Man with knives and machete in track graffitis with swastikas arrested near Democrat headquarters after saying he's on patrol. So, you see, they are, and then, of course, a swastika here. I mean, a swastika there that were probably put together very recently. So the inside of the truck with these swastikas also seems very suspicious. In the United States of America. That will mean a probable change for a way of life, a confrontation that will go to another level, where we will see Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, all the various militias treated like not only wrote down, because they're already formally, nominally deemed as terrorists in some quarters, but they will be hunted down like Al-Qaeda or ISIS. That's the next level of this confrontation. So it would be definitely something very dangerous. Somebody wrote, the FBI can go to Project Veritas and whistleblow anytime. Up until now, the FBI has never had one single agent coming out with a decent whistleblower. The FBI seems to be, unfortunately, on the wrong side of history for a long time. And we need to pray. We need to pray. We need also to open our eyes to make sure that we can have a chance to put America back on track, get rid of these jokers, and hopefully get rid of them and be able to relaunch America. I mean, here when we had in Long Beach Joe Biden arriving. He was a joke, and everybody knew it. Watch the arrival of Joe Biden in Long Beach. I mean, people hate him. People hate what he represents, especially after what happened in Afghanistan. So I hope that people realize that America is waking up, but are we going towards what I said in Volume 4, towards a basically a civil war? Because that seems to be what's possibly going to happen. 4 minutes before the end of the show, please support us with a donation, with purchasing our books. This is Joe Biden at his arrival in Long Beach. Even in Long Beach, and I lived in Long Beach for 3 months once, and I can tell you it's full of Democrats and libtards. I never expected all these patriots to come out of nowhere, but I guess they are. They are finally waking up to one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. So, and Pelosi, who actually makes a statement inviting her Republican friends to bring back the party and to get it back from the extreme right. I mean, this is ridiculous. Nancy Pelosi, why don't you just think about your own party?
And I say to my Republican friends, take back your party. The country needs a big, strong Republican Party. Here I say that as a leader in the Democratic Party, but we need a big, strong Republican Party. You've done so much for our country. Take pride and take back your party. Don't have it be a cult of personality on the
sorry, the only cult here is the Democrats, Nancy. Maybe you're getting confused.
extreme right. This isn't about liberal or conservative. It's about radical, should we say, they don't believe in governance.
I don't know if you believe in anything. I don't think you believe in governments. You believe only in your handlers, in the Jesuits and in the mob who have unfortunately unleashed you in Washington. And since then, you unfortunately took the power and you grab on it, you hold on it, and you never left it. You never let it go. So I curse with this everlasting presence of Nancy Pelosi.
So you see, for example, with COVID, if science says we should be wearing masks, and government says you must wear a mask.
So why didn't you wear a mask when you went to the hairdresser in San Francisco, Nancy? Why don't you finish with all these lies? Why don't you finish with all this hypocrisy? People, you still have a few hours. If you are a Californian and you are listening to the Leo Zagami show, you still have a few hours to save the day. Please go and cast your vote in favor of Larry Helder. And thank you so much for following today the Leo Zagami show from wherever you are in the world. We will be continuing in our mission also on Thursday at the same time from 4 to 5 Pacific Standard Time. Speak to you soon, my friends. Take care and God bless California today. Let's hope.